The Liberals made their Bill C-18 bed, and I think that they can lie in it. The Online News Act, since it was passed about a month and a half ago, was obviously never going to achieve the Liberals' stated goal of getting journalists paid. It was obviously always going to lead to big tech companies like Google and Meta to just shut down Canadian news on their platforms. Not because those companies are somehow being unfair, but because the Liberals were being unfair with them. I don't want to have to defend big tech companies who have done their own censorship in the past, but the Liberal government effectively trying to extort big tech companies to pay journalists for merely posting stuff on their platforms that these big tech companies never asked to be created nor post on their platforms in the first place is utterly ridiculous. Now you have Pablo Rodriguez demanding that the Meta reinstate all Canadian news because of the wildfires going on across Canada. And while that's horrible that Canadians cannot access news about the wildfires on Facebook at the moment, you cannot blame this on anyone but the Liberals for having incentivized the content's takedown in the first place. Obviously, if Facebook puts back up the news, all Canadian news on their platform, then the Liberals are going to hammer them for not paying the journalists who wrote the content while it was live. It's absolutely utterly ridiculous, and I think that this proves why Bill C-18 absolutely needs to be repealed. It's benefiting no journalist, and I think it would have been immoral if I was getting paid by Facebook in the first place for posting my own content that I already found value in posting on Facebook to reach my audience, because somehow I think I deserve $50 from Facebook for having written stuff that they didn't need and they didn't ask for. I know that they get money for ads on their own site, but it's their own website. Why do they owe me money for operating their own website? Anyways, but isn't this absolutely despicable that now that Canadians are in danger, the Liberals aren't thinking of repealing this bill and then giving the big tech companies the green light to put Canadian news back on their platforms under the promise that they're going to get rid of this ridiculous legislation? They're going to use this tragedy where Canadians are being deprived of information to try and spin this into into an anti-big tech narrative. Again, you don't have to love big tech to know that extortion is wrong. I happen to think that extortion's wrong, although I think that many on the left these days don't really care as long as it serves a particular goal. But so I want to make the case that this is not big tech's fault for people not being able to get information about the wildfires right now. This is Justin Trudeau's fault. Even though it's Pablo Rodriguez and other Liberal ministers making the whiny point that the news should be restored, this is obviously all being done under Justin Trudeau's direction. So it's Justin Trudeau who's depriving Canadians of news while they're trying to flee wildfires, not big tech. Justin Trudeau is the one who wanted to get independent media shut down on Facebook and Google, so that's why he basically passed this stupid extortion bill. This was never meant to get journalists paid. It was to make such a ridiculous ask that big tech would have been forced to shut down the news in general. And now, even though he knows exactly what his bill was meant to do and that it was meant to be unreasonable, he's now going to try and blame Google and Facebook when it's his fault. And I think that this needs to be clearly stated over and over again, which is why I'll admit I've kind of repeated it a couple times here, but I just want to make it absolutely clear what's going on. Anyways, well, that's the end of that rant, and I hope that this whole situation is resolved fairly quickly. I hope that Canadians are able to get the information they need to avoid these wildfires and be able to get to safety. At the same time, I don't see them getting that information unless the Liberals actually allow big tech to post the stuff without trying to fine them for massive amounts of money for not paying journalists. Anyways, that's it for me today. I have my legal fundraiser in the comments below for my lawsuit defense against a Chinese billionaire. I'm currently winning that, but of course, any amount of money helps me. I've had to pay over $15,000 into that. And if you're looking for news updates from TNT, sign up for our email list, also linked in the description. Because with Bill C-18, I can't get my written content out nearly as easily with only Twitter as my only avenue for distribution. So if you sign up down below at the email list, we'll send both videos and written content every few days into your inbox. And other than that, have a great day.